Hello, everybody, again. We are recording. Okay, so as you can probably see in the title, this is going to be a Mecha Fan and Beast deck profile with the new stuff. It's a lot different, I would say, from everyone else's. I've been looking at people's just to get ideas, what they're running. And they're all kind of the same, and they're all similar, and they all make I don't know, I would say mistakes or inconsistencies. I think this build eliminates it. If I had to go to a regional and I wanted to play Mecha Fan and Beast, I think I would play something close to this build, closer than what they're playing. Because, I don't see the deck winning as other people have built it at a regional. With the power level of the other decks right now, like Metal Chase and Hand Artifacts, Drop Tricks, and like Gear Gears. Like, this is basic. If you play it like that, like playing 3 Hamstrat, which a lot of people are doing. Some people are playing the Scramble with it, playing the recharges. I think you can have problems. And Gear Gears are this slow. Mecha Fan and Beast, some people try and build the combo build, which I think I'm still going to try. But it wants to be a control deck. It wants to have a field and hold it and push through your opponent. It's not really a spammy deck. And that's just how I feel that it should be played, and that's how it feels like it wants to be played. It wants to be played slowly grinding out searches with Mega Raptor, and not really. Scramble exists, and it can be good, but it can also be inconsistent, and you have to play inconsistent cards in order to play Scramble, which is why I don't like it. But and Max C exists, and your Scramble sucks under Max C. So we'll go over the build, and I can give you just some ideas on what I'm thinking when I build the deck. 3 Mega Raptor. I'm so tired of people saying this is the Stratos of the deck. Like, come on, people. It's like they always say that Magically, no, the Stratos of the deck. Just shut up and, I don't know. It's like, come on, we already know what it does. You don't need to say, oh, Stratos of the deck. Well, or you could say something like, it's the Magically of the deck, or, it's the Gearax of the deck, or the Gear Armor of the deck. It's like, it's always the Stratos. And for a card being banned, it seems kind of silly. So 3 Mega Raptor, 3 Tetherwolf. This is important to play at 3 because of Oleon. Of course, he played at 3 if you know what you're doing. I've seen people putting up builds with 1. It's like, what are you even thinking? And so these are the core. Like, playing all of these, they all do stuff by themselves. Pretty much. Mega Raptor doesn't, but if you have the other pieces, it's so good. You can't not play it, and it's more important than Tetherwolf. One-ofs, Hamstrat. Some people are playing 3. When you're setting this, you're basically playing. If you're setting monsters, I expect it to be better than a Gear Armor, which is basically what you're going against. Setting a Hamstrat, like, you're flip summoning and you're summoning 2 tokens. Are you going to tell me you can use those 2 tokens better than setting it armor, searching, and flipping it back face down? Like, there's no way making that play is as good. Like, you should just play Gear Gears. If that's what you want to do, just play Gear Gears, because this deck, I don't see it keeping up with Gear Gears. I think Gear Gears are going to be the deck to beat if you play this deck that way. I know it combos well, and if you get it off, but it's so risky. If that dies, if they bear it, if they Armades you, if they Dark Hole it, it's risky. People are playing hands, so you can maybe get away with it. Once they know you're not playing hands, then you won't be able to. 1 Stealth Ray. This is in response to the Gear Gears and Hats. You need something that can grind out back rows, and you're generating tokens, right? So you don't have to attack. You can just, like, this is a control deck, and control decks win through +1s. And this deck is actually incredibly floaty. Like, you're not going to lose cards very easily. So those are the one-ofs. Playing a Tempest. I don't really find myself going into Dracosac that much. This will help that. Even though, because it's like you don't want to give up 2. I don't want to give up a Tetherwolf. I just don't want to give up the Mega Raptors, which is how you're going to go into it, right? Is with a Mega Raptor. And if I have a Mega Raptor on the field, I'd much rather keep it. So at least with this, I can get rid of the Tetherwolf and go into a Dracosac. And with the Tempest, we're playing a Debris because you can search it through all winds. So if you open like a if you open the Oleon in your hand, you can ditch it with the Tempest, to search the debris, and then it'll generate 2 tokens, which is pretty relevant. So if you ever have Tempest in your hand, I'll forget. I usually forget when I'm playing. Well, maybe not now, because then I've realized it and played it enough. But if you have the Mega Raptor and you have a Tempest in hand, add the Oleon to your hand. Don't forget. Don't say, oh, I'm going to search a Hamstrat or a Stealth Ray or something. You know, it's like, get the Oleon to dump the Tempest to get the debris, unless you need the special that turn or something. I'm not playing a Redox. You could play a Redox in this build. I cut it, but I kind of want to put it back in. I don't know how I feel about it. It adds inconsistencies, which is what I'm trying to evade. Then we're playing the Mathematicians. This is to dump the Oleons, and we're also playing a Dandy. So you have 4 targets, and we're playing other traps, you know, that bring stuff back. So, and it's a floater. You get the card back. So getting the Oleons to the grave is what lets you make your pushes. It's very important, and this is a free way to do it. And in a slow format, this card is really good. And it's just, it increases consistency so much. And the other card that also increases consistency is Curry Bandit. I've seen people playing these or these, but never both. I don't know why. Well, actually, I only saw one guy. I've looked at quite a few videos, and only one guy is caught on. Curry Bandit is really good. People don't understand how graveyard reliant this deck has become if you're playing it correctly. And it actually is. Getting those Oleons into the grave, and because once you realize how graveyard dependent it is, you throw in the Dandy, because then it's another thing to send, and it helps out with a couple other card choices because of the Dandy. 2 Card Troopers, more milling, more floating, and it's a level 3, which is important for another card in the deck. The Dandy, because it's another token generator. If you open the Foolish, and the like opening Foolish Mega Raptor doesn't happen a lot, but when it happens, I would really like to send a Dandy instead of a, like, just in some situations the Dandy is just better to have than sending an Oleon. Getting the 1 token, I'd rather have the 2 level 1s. Then because we're playing, I think that's 9 level 3s. No, that's 11, I think. The Stealth Ray and the Hamstrat. So playing 2 Cranes, this is to get back your Oleons. Mainly it's to leverage into a Leviair to get back the Oleon. You can also use it to get back if you're planning ahead and you have like a Tempest, you can banish the Mega Raptors and go Crane to search the Mega Raptor from the remove from play with the Leviair. So that's important to realize. Then the Max C's. I also don't see people main decking Max C's. This is countering the weakness of the build. When you play the deck, you'll realize, well, what beats Mecha Phantom Beasts, and the only thing that beats it, well, how you lose is when they swarm you to push through your tokens. So if they can't swarm you, or they're going to give you cards to swarm through, you're safe. All you're trying to do is protect your field. It's a control deck, and you have to think of it that way. And Max C, it's a control deck in terms of putting monsters on the board. You want them to have the least number of monsters possible on the board, and that's how you get ahead, because then they can't get through your tokens to also get through your monsters. So try it out, and you'll see that it's really important when they're trying to special in order to clear your field that you have the Max C to stop them from clearing you, because then you'll be safe. And the deck is slow, and so it's stopped. You'll just lose to fast decks. That's how this deck loses, is to fast decks. Triple Scapegoat, we can get away with playing 3, unlike a lot of other builds where you're playing, let's say, Black Falcons, or you're playing Mecha Phantom Beasts, which generate tokens. So it's very common in other builds to have 2 cards on the field. In this build, you have so many 1-card monsters. Your Card Troopers, not so much the Mathematicians, because you'll send a token generator and then you'll have 2, but your Curry Bandits, all those cards are going to leave you open to damage, and these are really important at stopping you from taking damage in the early game. They also go with the, Mega Raptors and stuff, but I cut the aerial recharges, because they're also another card. It just doesn't generate enough advantage on its own. It's great when you have the Mega Raptor there, and then it's really strong. And you can use it like a Forbidden Lance sort of deal, but it just doesn't add enough to where I felt like I needed to play it. If you're playing Scrambles, of course, you would play it. The Foolish, to send whatever you need. People also aren't playing the Wind Arts. Some of them are. The good players, I believe, are. So if you open a Curry Bandit, odds you have 4 targets milling that you can, because the dandy tokens are wind type. The dandy's earth, but the tokens are wind. So if you summon a Curry Bandit, you're probably, maybe it's like 50-50 that you'll hit something. It might even be higher than that. 5 cards that you'll hit 1 of 4. So this is incredibly live. Your card troopers can hit it. Your mathematician will always, if you open this, you're going to send a token and then it'll work. This card is just so good. It's Wing Blast on, roids, basically. They don't get the card back. And it works so well. Then we're playing the 3 calls. You'll notice I'm not playing the Soul Chargers, mainly for the reason that we want to limit the number of monsters they have. Well, it doesn't work in this build. You just can't do it, because in order to play a Soul Charge safely, you need to eliminate the number of monsters on their board through card effects, right? Because that's what we said. We're trying to limit the number of monsters on their side of the field. So if you aren't playing a Cult Wing, where you get the extra pop, and then leverage it into a Dracosack, where you can get another pop, there's really no point to playing a Soul Charge, because I don't have a Cult Wing, so the max I'm going to get is 1 pop out of a Dracosack, maybe a Stealth Ray pop, but all we care about is monsters really at that point. And it just doesn't work well. There's no monsters that are going to generate tokens, except for if I'm reborning, a Dandy or something. It just doesn't work, and you can't put enough pressure on them to where they need to where the Soul Charge would be worth it. Because then you can't attack, and that's really how you get your pluses, through attacking. Waboku, this is in response to the opponent playing Max C. When they Max C you, it sucks having to go, because they're going to draw so many cards if they Max C you at the right time. Because Max C is really strong versus deck. If you have like a Mega Raptor, it's an automatic +1. Whenever you're going to special a token, they just chain it and they draw 1 for that token, 1 for the Mega Raptor. And then if you're going to try and, synchro or do something, then they're going to draw more. So you need something to keep your field from being cleared. And Waboku does that. They're not going to use freaking card effects destroying tokens. Maybe they'll Black Rose you or something, but a lot of decks right now can't play Black Rose. They could go Excidion, but I'm fine. If they're playing Control and they want Excidion, I'm fine with it. And last card is a Torrential. You can basically think of the Torrential. I was just thinking about it, seeing someone play Barrel Roll. I hadn't seen it in a while. Where that card's basically, Dark Bribe. Well, not a Dark Bribe. Solemn Judgment tributing a token, which is basically what this is for monsters. It's not a judgment, but, if they have 2 level 4s, they're going to excite on you or something. It's just, you're going to kill all your tokens anyways, and then you're going to kill their monsters on the side of the field. So I would definitely play the Torrential over the Barrel Roll if you're not playing Torrential. And usually it's fine. I don't like getting rid of the tokens, but it's important to be able to... Once again, this is the same theory as Max C. We want to limit the number of monsters on their side of the field. The one card I'm not playing that I would like to is Mirror Force. You cut a Curry Bandit for it, but I don't know. I haven't really tested it enough. I always like Mirror Force in this deck, because once again, they'll try to push through. That's the only way they get over it. That's the main deck. I think it's... yeah, that's the whole main deck. I think it's 27 monsters, I think. It's a lot of monsters. But they all float. Extra deck, Clausulus. Nobody's playing this card. I don't know why. Scapegoat Oleon is a level 3. Then the Oleon goes to the grave. It's going to make you a token. And then you can remove the Oleon to summon anything. You can summon a Stealth Ray with 100 attack. Use the effect. Knock him down to 0 and kill him with a Stealth Ray. So, and you're, finish chaining their card. So, this card is a must. I would not play this build without a Clausulus. 2 Armatis. This is in response to the hands, Mermails. It gets through. The first one, they will usually have a response, because all their bottomlesses, mainly bottomless. It gets bottomless a lot because they can't bottomless anything else. Once you have the tokens, they have all these cards that are just sitting there in the back row that they can't use for seal. And usually Armatis will get hit with it. That'll be the first card, the warning, because they don't want a warning. They usually don't realize how strong your Mega Raptors are and other stuff. And then the other level 5 is a Cataster. I'm just playing 2 Armatis because the hands can be annoying, and Armades, in my opinion, is better than Cataster, and you don't really need the other extra deck space for other stuff. And then the Black Rose. This is with the debris and a token. You can bring back the dandy like the good old days and make a Black Rose and make 2 tokens. The Black Rose is really important and it's really good. There's a lot of targets. Your Cranes, your Stealth Ray, any token, you know, there's like plenty of stuff to bring back. The debris should never be dead. Extra deck, 1 Leviair. You can play 2. There's actually, this is only a 14 card extra deck. You can put in any other card you want. Even take out an Armades if you want. But if you're playing 3 Cranes, play the 2 Leviairs for sure. Sometimes they clog at 3. Zenmaines, Mech Whip. These are the best level 3s in my opinion, or rank 3s. 1 Excidion, this is important. When they have a bunch of back row, you can go into Excidion with Elyon pretty easily. Chidori, because I think it's better than Honors. Getting the face down for sure. And then be able to just bounce their special summon monsters, pretty much just as good in my opinion as a Honors, except then you can do it again next turn, so I feel like this is a better choice. 1 Gigant, I hardly ever go into Gigant because basically I'm giving up my field, and I don't want to do that. But there are some times when you would rather have it, and so it's just sitting there for whenever that time happens. And then the 7s, Big Eye and 2 Dracosacks. Yeah, I see people playing this deck with only 1 Dracosack, and I totally understand how they get away with it, because the reason you go Dracosack in other decks is to get the protection of the Dracosack. Well, all your monsters already have that protection, so why would you want to give up? Well, when you're playing the limited number of monsters we are, the limited number of Mecha Phantom Beasts, you're basically going to be giving up a Mega Raptor, which is pretty expensive, considering how good Mega Raptor is. So that's the deck. Try it out. I think you'll see that it's incredibly consistent. It's incredibly good with hand control. Like you'll always just pretty much have a pretty big hand to where whenever you need to explode, you can do it, because all these cards are basically floating, and you just have options. You're never really committed to the field too much because you have all these monsters, and you have really good traps. Call the Haunted are never bad. If they MSTM, you can chain them. The chainable best trap card we have. The Wind Darts is good. I don't know. It's just a really, really consistent. It's just really consistent. That's all I can really say. Like, okay, there's 6. I would say this hand's perfectly fine. I mean, you always. It's just like every hand is just incredibly. It's just incredibly consistent compared to other Mecha Phantom Beast builds. Like, just looking at this, every hand is playable. Like, every hand's playable. That's what's important to me, because I can expect to outplay people as long as the deck is able to do what it's supposed to do. And this build does it, so I would highly suggest trying it out. Post any comments, anything you think is missing, any kind of improvements if you know what you're doing. And I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I haven't really had anything new to post. You know, the community kind of figures stuff out, but they haven't figured this out yet, so I figured I'd post it and see what you guys do with it. So thanks a lot for watching. Like, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.